If you think you're too stiff for yoga, I have good news and bad news. The bad news, you're probably right. You are stiff. The good news, that's exactly what you need yoga for. Let me explain why I'm too stiff for yoga is like saying I'm too dirty to take a shower. Here's the thing. You don't get flexible before you do yoga. You get flexible by doing yoga. Flexibility isn't a prerequisite, it's a result. Think about it. You don't say, I need to get strong before I lift weights. Nobody says that. You don't say, I need to get fit before I go to the gym. You don't say, I need to learn Spanish before I take a Spanish class. Okay, I could go on, but I think you see where I'm going with this. For some reason, when it comes to yoga, we've decided that you need to already be the thing you're trying to become. And that makes no sense. If you're stiff, that's not a disqualification. That's literally the reason the yoga poses exist. The yoga poses are the practice. If you're done gently, consistently, asking your body to do a little more than it's used to over time. Stiffness is your starting point, not your barrier. So why do so many people think they're too stiff for yoga? I think there's two reasons. So the first reason is Instagram yoga. All of us are scrolling through social media and we're seeing people in splits, in back bends, in poses that look like they require a spine made of rubber. And your brain just says, that's what yoga is, and I can't do that, so yoga isn't for me. But here's the truth. That's not what yoga is. That's a whole performance of, I don't even know what that is. That's what gets likes and follows. But functional yoga, the yoga that actually helps your body feel better, it doesn't have anything to do with that. It doesn't look like that. It looks like you in your living room, bending your knees in a forward fold because that's what your hamstrings need today. And then I think the second reason is you tried a class once and couldn't keep up. Maybe you went to a class where the teacher said, fold forward and touch your toes, and you thought, I can't even see my toes over my belly, or I haven't touched my toes since the 6th grade, or you looked around and everybody else was touching your toes and you just thought, this isn't for me. Or maybe you tried to sit cross-legged and your hips screamed at you, or you couldn't even sit down on the floor and you just left feeling like your body just doesn't work for yoga. But here's what actually happened. That class wasn't designed for stiff people. That's it. The teacher gave instructions for flexible bodies and expected yours to comply. And when it didn't, you thought you were the problem. You weren't. The teaching was. Right? And I'm not trying to throw shade on another teacher. Maybe the description of the class was wrong. Maybe there were all other factors, but it wasn't you. It was the class. It was all these other factors. But in this moment, I need for you to know it wasn't you. That class was not for you. So let's talk about what yoga actually requires, because it's not flexibility. Here's what you need. 1, the ability to breathe. Sit with that for a moment. If you can breathe, you can do yoga. That's it. That's the baseline. Number 2, the willingness to be a beginner. Yoga asks you to try things that feel awkward, to not know what you're doing, to look silly sometimes. If you can tolerate being new at something, you can do yoga. Number 3, curiosity about your body. Yoga's about noticing what feels tight, what feels open, what hurts. Is this a stretch versus is this a sensation? Is this tingly? If you could pay attention, you could do yoga. And did you notice what's not on the list? Flexibility, strength, a certain body type, a certain age. None of that matters. And if you're stiff, we just modify the poses. That's it. That's the whole solution. You don't need to become flexible to start. You just need to show up as you are and let the practice meet you right where you are. That's it. That's as complicated as it gets. You were breathing, you walked in the room. You were curious. You were willing to be awkward. That's it. That's as complicated as it gets. I want to say this clearly. Your stiffness is not a moral failing. It's not a sign that you're lazy or broken or too far gone. It's just information about where your body is today. And yoga doesn't ask you to be anywhere other than where you are in this moment. You don't have to earn the right to practice yoga by getting flexible first. You don't get to start yoga by having done something. You get to start exactly as you are, stiff hamstrings and all, gray hair. So take a deep breath, let it out. So if you're stiff and you've been waiting to get ready for yoga, this is your sign. You're already ready. And if you want a program that assumes you're stiff and shows you exactly how to make every pose work anyway, we made something for you. Because we know not everybody can come to our wonderful studio in Nampa, Idaho. It's called Yoga That Fits Your Body. It's 11 videos that teach you 28 foundational yoga poses with modifications for tight hamstrings, tight hips, limited mobility, bigger bodies. There's no assumption that you can touch your toes. There's no assumption. There's no expectation that you'll look like anyone else. There's just clear instructions on how to make each pose fit your body exactly as it is today. And it's $7. You get lifetime access. You can practice in your pajamas. And by the end, you'll know how to walk into any yoga class without feeling like your stiffness disqualifies you, because it doesn't. It never did, but now you'll feel it right in your chest. So the link is in the description, and let's get you started.